So I found something.
I love these things. It's not even hello viewers or it's just straight into the I found something. This is so exciting.
Clearly they're liking that because they see that the first piece viewership, like the first 3 minutes, has a huge spike. I was like, oh, okay, so you're clearly liking when they just come in and go crazy.
Okay, cool.
So this is from the South African Federation for Mental Health. So it says approximately 67% of South Africans are in a form of employment, right? But then it says about 13% of employees live with a diagnosed mental health condition. Over a third of working South Africans experience excessive daily stress. Now, this number shocked me. Globally, an estimated 12 billion working days are lost each year due to anxiety and depression.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing? How are you feeling?
Depressed and anxious after those stats.
So, please don't add to the 13 billion days that have been lost.
And then I can go home.
Yeah. So, after I just depressed everybody, let me get everybody back on track. Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the Uncovering Greatness podcast. As always, I am your host, Sully, and today I am joined by Nicole Mitchell. Nicole is the lead processor at Uncovering Greatness, one of the greatest processors on the planet, and she's going to help us unpack why are we all depressed. So in the process, all of us at once today on this podcast. So buckle in. How you doing, Nicole?
Good, thank you. I don't know if that's exactly true, but I'll do my best to live up to help you not be depressed. What did you say? That help us maybe understand why we're all depressed.
Well, yeah, I mean that's one
Something
part
like
of it.
that.
That's so. I mean, and I think this is it's something that I've learned that's been very important is the understanding of words, right? Because that
Correct.
is, I never thought about that before I seriously started processing or taking processing seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Like words are very important to understand, and I think one that I learned the definition of was actually this past Friday when I had my processing session, and the word was anxiety. So could you please give us the definition from Ellen C. Walters? Ellen C. I don't say Walters. It's Ellen C. Walter from the Knowledgeism Dictionary. So don't go look this up in your dictionaries because you're not going to find this definition there.
Yeah. So Alan's, in terms of the Knowledgeism Dictionary, he picked specific words and he added the emotional aspect of it to those words because he found that the traditional dictionary doesn't always have, it might have the meaning of the word, but it doesn't have the emotional connection to the word.
Okay.
So that's why he created a dictionary, so that there was a better understanding of certain words. So there was more of an emotional connection to words.
That's great. I didn't know that. So I'm learning something. That makes sense.
So fear and anxiety are the twin terror moods and levels of existence. Fear stems from the distrust of self. Anxiety stems from the distrust of others. It takes a great deal of bravery and personal integrity to face up and fully duplicate and permeate one's fears and anxieties. When you are dealing with fear and anxiety, you are always dealing with a form of avoidance or cowardly negativity. Fear and anxiety immobilizes one's abilities to act. Thus, you get procrastination, making the unimportant important and then doing unimportant things. Poverty, unreliability, lies, dishonesty, pretense, refusal to study, train, or process, inability to work effectively, low self-esteem, low self-respect, low mood levels, low morale, etc. Fears and anxieties destroy concentration and focus, and they destroy your ability to take a position and be on purpose. That is his definition of fears and anxieties.
So, I mean, just listening to that definition, I kind of sit and I go, well, then the global stat of 12 billion working days being lost each year makes sense.
Correct, because people are unable to hold a position. For some people, that means they take sick days because they can't hold their position at work. In terms of procrastination or low mood levels, it takes you twice as long to get something done.
Yeah.
So those days are being lost because people are sitting in fear and anxiety.
Yeah, and as I was reading that, I was like, wait, how are 12 billion working days lost if there's only like 365 days? Then I went, oh, wait, sorry, this is based off like peoples. Like, imagine there's 7 billion people on the planet, right? Let's just say in the workforce, there's 4 billion. If you miss 2 days a year because of mental health, that number kind of makes sense.
It adds up quickly, but just for your numbers, the 4 billion, it's less than that because there's a large population of people that are unemployed.
Yeah.
Then there is the population of elderly that are not employed. And then there's the population that are school going and students and university people. So they are not employed either. So those stats it reduces it. So it's not 2 days.
No, I know. No, I was just
you are aware.
Thank you for clarifying. It's more than 2 days.
It is way
but
more
like
than 2
that
days.
is a lot of days, which means within a business, that's a lot of money.
Correct.
Right? Economically, there's a lot of money being lost. And one of the things, so like for example, and you'll help me out here. So one of the things that Ellen says there in the definition of anxiety is the mistrust of others, if I'm not mistaken. So now I come to work, and this is the way I was thinking about it was sort of like, I come to work Monday. I know that I have a list of to-dos. I haven't done them. My anxiety goes up because my fear is, so then the fear goes up first, right? Because my fear is, I don't trust myself because I didn't do what I said I was going to do last week. And then my anxiety goes up because I'm not sure what the team is going to say about me not delivering on my to-dos.
So, look, everybody's different and everyone's going to experience different emotions differently.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is not a generalization, or this is a generalization, or it's specific to you.
No, that's generalized.
And depending on how people experience things, some people... Okay, so I'm going to say, the average person today does not understand what a mood level is.
Yeah.
So their moods are good, bad,
okay, fine.
Okay, sad, happy, and fine. Okay.
Pretty much the mood spectrum.
That's their kind of...
Yeah.
And when you understand there are, I say hundreds, probably thousands of different moods that people can experience.
Okay.
So once you start to acknowledge the different moods and you can identify it, because one of the main reasons that people don't understand what they're going through and procrastinate is they don't even realize that they're sitting in fear and anxiety.
Okay.
So last week, when you came to work on the, let's say, Monday morning meeting, did you even have an awareness of the fears and anxieties? Because you hadn't even read the definitions.
No.
So you, like in your mind, you couldn't even identify what those moods were. In fact, you probably had no awareness that you were sitting in anxiety. You were just getting irritated and frustrated and like, I need to leave.
Yeah.
Because I can't handle this.
100%.
Okay. So the moment come Friday, we read those definitions. This week you come to work and now you're not sitting in all those mood levels because you've actually identified them. It doesn't mean that the situation changed. It doesn't mean that the things you had done last week you've suddenly done. Because you are now aware of the fears and anxieties you were sitting in last week, this week you've come in and you've gone, okay, I'm willing to take responsibility for it because I did X, Y, and Z, and you did X, Y, and Z, and this other person did X, Y, and Z. you're not sitting in that distrust of self and others, because now you're aware of, well, I dropped the ball, they dropped the ball.
Okay.
So you're going, okay, cool.
The first step is the awareness that I dropped the ball, because it's super easy for me to go into they dropped the ball. Me, I wasn't even playing.
So the first step is to acknowledge the emotions, because, and this is where I, it's a generalization, but we're going to use you as the example. So
For sure.
Sully comes to work. Let's just say he comes to work. He hasn't done what he's supposed to do, and he's sitting in all this fear and anxiety. But he has no concept of that's what's happening. So every time somebody walks past him or whatever, he's just getting irritated and frustrated.
Yeah.
Can't focus on the spreadsheet that he's working on. Can't focus on his numbers. Can't focus on stuff because he's sitting in all this fear and anxiety, but it's everybody else's fault because they keep disturbing him.
Mm.
Okay?
Okay, I'm with you.
Then we actually identify the mood and go, you're sitting in fear and anxiety. Oh, flip, you're right. It is that. Oh, wow. Now you can suddenly go, it's not because of the person walking behind me. It's actually because of the mood I'm sitting in.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I can stop blaming them. I can stop distrusting them because it actually has nothing to do with them. Oh, suddenly my spreadsheet gets way clearer because now I can actually focus on my spreadsheet because I'm not worried about the people that are walking in and out of my office or the phone that's ringing or whatever. So now you're in a position to go, okay, I didn't do what I should have, but now I understand why I didn't do it because I'm sitting in all this fear and anxiety. Okay, cool. So now I can stop blaming all the other work people.
Yes.
And go, do I want to feel fear and anxiety?
No, I don't.
No, I don't. Okay, so, and then that's where processing comes in because we can clean up that mood level. Or you can go, I'm going to park that mood.
Just let it chill for a bit.
Let it chill over there for a bit. Do what I need to do and then address it later.
Okay.
Where is it from? What happened? How long has it been there? All those kind of things. Is it even mine? Oh, actually what happened is it's not even mine. It came from the last job I worked at, and my boss used to come and stand over my shoulder and criticize all my spreadsheets as I was doing them. Oh, flip, that's the anxiety's not even here. It's back there.
Yeah, it's so funny that you just said that because I'm now just thinking back to like one of my first jobs within the family business. And I made the decision to have my desk facing the door so that nobody can get behind me. So there's a wall here. So you can't get behind me because what had happened was I was in an office previously, same company, and people would come stand behind me and do exactly that. And no, you're doing that wrong. No, you're doing that wrong. No, you're doing that wrong. And every office I've went to since, I've made sure that my back is always facing the wall so that you can't actually do that. Whereas now I don't have that. So I went back into it. And now I'm like, oh, okay. But like, even while you're speaking, I was like, why is it that nothing was working last week in terms of when I was trying to edit stuff? My computer's just not working with me. My phone, nothing's working. And I'm like, it has to be these people. They've just brought in their negative energy into my space and nothing is now working.
And there's that distrust of others.
Yes.
Nothing works. It's
everybody else's fault. Same thing, exactly the same thing happened this morning. Hey, my computer was working fine. There's that. And now I was like, while you were speaking, I was like, damn it, again. I was the problem again. I was the one who was breaking technology because I was not.
That's where this description is so cool because it's, I've forgotten what I was going to say. Fears and anxieties destroy concentration and focus.
Yeah.
And that's what was happening to you. This part, the other part. It takes a great deal of bravery and personal integrity to face up and fully duplicate and permeate one's fears and anxieties. It's hard to acknowledge I'm the problem. Yeah. It's hard to acknowledge that this isn't mine, it came from my previous boss, for example.
Yeah.
Or my first boss when they used to, or the family business or whatever it is. It takes a great deal of bravery to acknowledge that, wow, I was afraid of that.
Yeah.
Or I didn't like that, or that was uncomfortable for me. And that's where it's so challenging, is because the average person today, it takes a great deal of bravery to acknowledge those fears and anxieties.
And I mean, would you say, because like, it's one of those things where I'm imagining people are watching this and they're going to go, well, how can you help me? What are the things I can do to deal with my anxiety?
Okay, so the very first thing is to actually acknowledge the mood level. And within anxiety, there's a whole bunch of moods.
Okay.
So you could be tense. You could be, I don't know.
I remember the words. Like there was a few wild ones that I was like, ooh.
Yeah, look, yeah. But within actual, within anxiety, there's quite a few different moods you can pick up just within sort of anxiety. So let's say dreariness, torment, tense, contention, antagonism. There's a whole bunch of other words.
So anxiety is not a mood. Or is it a mood?
So you can. So I'm going to say yes, it is a mood.
Okay.
But it's to try and get more specific.
Cool.
The more specific you can be, the better. So it's certain, like if you say I'm happy.
Yeah.
Okay, you can have moods within happy. You can have excited, you can have joyful, you can have, all those,
enthusiastic,
sunshine.
Yeah.
So it's important for you to be aware of how much further can you go into the mood? Can you separate it out more? So when you are feeling anxiety, what is it? Describe it. Okay, it's a sick feeling in my stomach. It's, I get a headache. I don't know, for some people, they may start burping or they may start shaking.
Okay. So like trying to really unpack it.
Try to really unpack it. Like, what is it? And for some people, it may just be, I get really tense and and that's how they feel when they get anxious. Some people get very jittery and nervous and they start stuttering, or
some people shut down. I can't talk. Not that I can't talk, but I can't talk. I'm struggling to get the actual words out of my mouth of what I'm feeling in this moment.
So the more you can identify how you feel, the easier it is to then start identifying your mood. And one way to do it is actually to duplicate that feeling.
Okay.
So if you are feeling happy, go, right, experience anxiety, that tense, that sick feeling in your stomach, experience it. And create it yourself. Not have somebody, not an event or something else created. So if you can experience it, like if you're in a good mood and you go, okay, cool, let me demonstrate anxiety, and you can go, or whatever it is, and you demonstrate it and like experience it. Then you can go, okay, cool, now I want to be happy again. I'm so happy. And then you're happy again. Put yourself back in, yeah. And just by experiencing the mood and all the sensations and feelings around it, what you do is you give yourself the awareness of what it actually feels like. Because if you can feel it, when you start to experience it, you can go, whoa, stop, baby. I am not. I do not want to experience you today, thank you. You can just park yourself over there. I'll get to you later. Yeah. And then you can, when later comes, you can go, what happened? Oh, a dog was walking towards me, and it was a big black dog, and it reminded me of when I was...
That one time when I got chased by a dog.
Correct. Or, whatever it is. And you go, oh, well, this is not that one time when I was chased by a dog. That's a different dog. I didn't need to feel anxious
I mean, that could happen. And that could actually, the way you explain that, that could happen so easily in a team or in a workplace, right? And it may not be directly happening to you. So, for example, like you could be, then it's just an example, just it's an example. You could be yelling at Michaela for something that she's done. I happen to be in the room or be in a meeting together. My anxiety levels go up because I'm thinking about the time that I got yelled at or I got shouted at for something that, and this has zero to do with me, but all of a sudden my anxiety levels are up. I'm now going to my tenseness and I shut down completely and I'm like, I'm not going to answer to anything.
I can't do anything,
Yeah,
I can't work,
I
I can't function. And then you don't even understand why.
Mm.
And you have no concept, you just like, oh no,
just
today's a bad day.
Yeah,
I'm just having a really bad
100%.
day.
Yeah.
You know, and then it becomes, well, this is who I am. I just get anxious often, you know, it just kind of arrives. And it's not who you are. It's a mood that controls you.
Oof. Yeah.
And so the more you can experience it, identify it, become aware of it, the less it will control you.
I mean, we're not sitting here saying that you're not going to get anxious.
100%, because
let's be very clear.
It's, you know, exactly that situation. If you were yelling at Michaela, I would get anxious. I'd get, if it was anybody else, I'd also get anxious.
Yeah.
But I stop and go, oh, that comes from when, you know, my parents used to fight when I was a kid, and that's not my parents fighting. I don't need to feel anxious.
Yeah.
It's actually nothing to do with me. Phew, this is exciting. It's not fine. Yay!
I did it. Made it through a day.
And what that does in that moment is I shift and I go, it's not actually mine. They can keep their stuff. I don't need to feel it. And that's another technique you can use. I mean, it comes from Blessing as little voice mastery tips, tools, and techniques is how am I feeling? How do I want to feel?
Ooh, yes.
And so I'm feeling anxious. Okay, how do I want to feel? Well, I actually want to feel content. How am I feeling? I'm feeling anxious. Okay, how do I want to feel? I want to feel content. And you just keep doing that until you get to the point where you're content. And even if you got to say it in a couple of different mood levels or shout it or whatever, but that's another way to switch your mood so that you can get out of that procrastination, low mood level, those kind of things. And then a third way is gratitude.
Okay.
Gratitude, one of my favorite things, works for so many different things.
It does.
Two emotions you cannot feel at the same time, fear and gratitude.
Yeah.
So the moment you are feeling fearful or anxious, you can start moving into what are 10 things I'm grateful for right now.
Yeah, sorry, I was just thinking of an example. I don't know if I didn't tell you about the accident that I saw on the highway. And I was so like maybe a month or two ago I saw this just a horrible accident. And you know those cement blocks that divide the highway?
Yes.
So the guy basically like spun like this and he just went straight into it. Like head on. And I was like, and now I was terrified at the fact that what if this person is gone and I'm now getting out of my car to go and help? How am I going to actually help? What am I going to do? And I was incredibly fearful. I was like really terrified. But then something in my head just went, yo, thank goodness that wasn't me. And all of a sudden I just calmed down and I was like, cool, I can now actually help this person. Irrespective of what's going on with them, I can actually help them. But if I was still operating, and I say that to speak about the gratitude thing you're speaking about, if I was still fearful, I was going to be useless.
And, you know, the gratitude, like, as you're talking, I was thinking the other night I was driving home in the rain and it was pouring and I could hardly see. And I started to feel that fear and anxiety of, this is not safe, da 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 da. And then I was like, whoa, stop. Okay, I'm grateful I'm not outside in the rain. I'm grateful I'm dry. I'm grateful I've got lights on my car. And I'm grateful that I can see and on my windscreen. I'm grateful that I had my windscreen wipers replaced.
Yeah.
That they actually work properly and I can see. Okay, cool. And immediately the fear and the anxiety dissipates because you start shifting into the positive. And so gratitude is very powerful when it's used like that.
Yeah.
So, and it's not just find one thing. Try and find a couple of different things. You know, like I said, oh, I had my windscreen wipers replaced. I'm dry. I'm in a car. My car's not leaking. You know, it's not hailing.
Yeah.
You know, it's not load shedding. So there are lights.
Lights are on, yo.
Lights are on.
Gosh.
Those kind of things. And the more you can like list 10 things, it becomes easier to shift.
I mean, it's not like it's not a distraction from what's actually going on. It's actually, I feel it's actually more bringing you of awareness to what's actually happening.
Correct. So you're bringing yourself into the present,
Yeah.
and you're helping yourself actually arrive. You're not in the anxiety of 25 years ago I had a car accident in the rain.
And I'm sure there's many people who have had that, where they like exactly that scenario that you're talking about, and then you panic yourself into something stupid.
And then you do have an accident, like you say, because you panic yourself and you're not present and you're stuck in the mood.
Anxiety just overtakes you and there's nothing you can do. And I mean, I think that's, if we go back to the stats of the 12 billion days, which is still nuts, but it's so easy to get stuck, right? Like, I think about that day when my anxiety went up. I actually lost a full day. Like, I lost a full day because I was so focused on, these people are getting in my way. I cannot concentrate. I cannot focus. See, now my laptop's not working. Full day. And before you know it, it's done. Like, it's 4:00. And I remember saying to you, 4:00 is my time now. And I'm like, like, that's stupid. How productive am I going to be if I work from... So why am I coming to work at 7? I might as well come at 4 and just work for 5 hours and then go home. Like, it just makes no sense. But this is something that I also wanted to touch on from Ellen's book of words, was depression. And this, because I actually just read it before we started, so I didn't know the definition, but I just want to take a piece of this. The basis of depression is loss of game. Loss of any game, whether it be voluntary or involuntary, can trigger depression. Therefore, it's vital that after any huge wins or major realization, the client be checked for depression and loss of game. Oh, that was like, when I read that, I went, oh, that makes so much sense. Like, that is so simple and so easy to understand. Because if we then tie it to what we're talking about around anxiety, because so it says anxiety and depression is the cause for 12 million lost days. And that can happen so easily at work, right? We close a big, for example,
we spend months working on a client and then you close a big deal.
End
of game.
Yeah, I mean, we've done that. So we've done UGEs, we've done the cash flow game.
Cash flow game. We did that big cash flow game. 300 people.
I did not realize I was depressed afterwards.
Months working on that, putting it together, tied up so many life force particles, so much energy, and then boom, it's done.
In a day, all that work, like 6 months worth of work, was done in 8 hours. It was finished. It was game over.
Finished, done.
The game ended, and it was the weirdest thing leaving. I don't know how you felt when you packed the car and we left. I was like, we did all this work for that. But the loss of game it hit me hard.
You can see, like, and I know this is supposed to be a business podcast, but if you take a young couple that just got married and they spend 18 months planning their wedding, it's done in one day, and then suddenly they can't understand why their marriage doesn't work, or, you were so happy before we got married. What's wrong with you? Oh, it's my fault because she was so happy before we got married. And now it's my fault we got married and she's miserable and she's depressed.
Yeah.
Or he's miserable or depressed, and you're like, oh, well, it must be my fault. And it's not. It's just the wedding was the big thing and it's an end of game.
Yeah.
It's a loss because we invested so much energy and time and effort into it. Now we've got all those life force particles. Where do we invest them into next? If we don't realize that it's an end of game, we now need to, that's where the depression comes from. So the moment you can spot an end of game, what's the next game?
Yeah.
Where are you tying your life force particles into?
Just sort of a setup of, so we're going to close this big deal. So like, yeah, we're planning a big event close to the end of this year. What's the plan afterwards? So not just thinking about the event, because the event's going to come and go. It's going to be 2 days it's done. And then what's the next steps afterwards?
And that's where, like with the Olympics last year, we see so many Olympic athletes that come back from the Olympics depressed.
Yeah.
Because it's an end of game. They've lost everything they've worked for is now gone. It's finished. And they have to literally start all over again.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy, and I also feel like you do see that a lot with athletes and sports people, right? Like, and I can imagine, for example, like a high rocks, that must be nuts because you spend a lot of time preparing for it. You do a bunch of events and then it's finished, and you don't have, and the next high rocks is only in 8 months' time. You're not even thinking about that. You're just like, I need to finish it, and then you finish it and.
And this is where celebrating wins and acknowledging wins is so important, especially when we look at an end of game. And it's like, okay, so what wins did you have?
Yeah.
And I mean, I talk about this constantly. If somebody's critical and complaining, I generally will ask them, have you had any wins recently? And they're like, no, I haven't. No.
It's the worst thing that can happen to you in your absence is somebody asking you what wins you had.
And then suddenly you'll start to go, oh, wait, actually, it was my kid's birthday party and we had, 20 people and blah, blah, blah. And then, and this happened and then that happened and blah, blah. And the moment people start talking and they see the positive, then all the wins start unraveling and they suddenly go, oh, I feel so much better.
Yeah.
And you're like,
oh,
I'm so glad. No wonder you've been sitting on so many wins, but the wins came with an end of game. So it created the depression.
Yeah. Now I'm just, for me, if I think about this from from a business standpoint, right? I feel like every team should do this. Like, I feel like businesses meet a lot. We shouldn't act like people don't have meetings regularly. What would be the harm actually in starting a meeting with, give me 2 wins that you've had with the last week?
So from a processing perspective, It will do way more good than bad. From a ego perspective, you have to make sure that you manage it because otherwise you don't want other people to make less of. So it needs to be a safe space to celebrate wins. So as a business team, are you creating a safe space for your team to acknowledge their wins? Because if somebody comes in and said, I did this deal and I closed 25 people and I've done this and I've done that and, it's R1 million in sales, and your poor little newbie sitting there going, I'll never do that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then they're gone because they collapsed because they're comparing themselves. Then it's a bad thing. But if you are putting the context in place of this guy regularly closes.
This is what he does.
This is what he does for a living. Okay, we don't expect you to do that.
100%.
Your 2 deals of 10,000 Rand each is massive.
That's huge.
We want you to celebrate. We want to celebrate those 2 wins. So it's that context of the wins.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it as an example in our business, we know that Barry's our big deal closer. We're not anticipating that if you do, awesome sauce. But we're not anticipating you to close the type of deals that he closes. We'd like you to build up to that, but the pressure isn't there to do that, right? You brought up something now that I was just like, I feel like this ties in so well. The comparisons. I look at you, I look at Nicole. Nicole is closing R1 million deals. I'm doing 10,000. How much does that play into people's anxiety and depression in life?
Well, huge, because it's distrust of self or distrust of others. So if I'm sitting here going, I could never do that. oh, you know, I'll never be able to get there. That's distrust of self. It's going to create a whole bunch of anxiety and what have you. I'll never get there. It's negative self-talk. It's going to drop my mood level. And I will be right. I will never get there.
You set yourself up for failure.
But if I look at it and go, what can I learn from that person? How can I get better? And stop comparing myself to them, because I can guarantee you that if you actually saw their true life, you probably wouldn't want it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll never forget, we had a sales rep that came in and she was complaining that she had, I don't know, 30,000 rand debt, blah, 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 blah. And how her life sucks and you don't know what it's like and all this stuff. And Barry said, I'll make you a deal. I'll swap my problems and my debt for yours. Is that okay? And she looks at him and she goes, what do you mean? He goes, well, you can have my debt. And she goes, well, you wouldn't understand. And he goes, sure, no problem. And he goes, you can have my R1 million debt. And she looks at him, what do you mean? And he goes, well, my car, my house, the business loan, you know, the investor loan and all these kind of things, and, you know, investing into cash flow games and da-da-da-da. So you can have my R1 million debt. And she just sat there and she just looks at him and she goes, it's okay. And he's like, okay, so let's make a deal. You don't complain about yours and I won't complain about mine. And she went, okay. And she never ever complained about her debts again. But that's the problem, is most people are not willing to actually look, and because they're so self-focused and comparing, like, your life's amazing and you've got all this wonderful stuff. I can guarantee you, if you were to be in their shoes, you would want your shoes back again.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching the Diary of a CEO podcast with Mr. Beast, and like I've been watching Mr. Beast videos for a long time, and I was like, I'm gonna get us to that level. We're gonna get there. And then I watched him speak on the process and what they need, what they do to do those videos, and I was like, I don't want to do that. That's insanity. This guy's talking about sleeping for 3 hours a day. He's literally non-stop, and everything that he does is to be better than than the last video. And I was like, yeah, I can take that piece, but to sleep 3 hours a day and to function the way he functions, no. It's a great inspiration. It's great to know that it's achievable and you can do that if you're willing to go that extra mile. And I think that's what you're alluding to, is saying that if you're willing to go there, then compare yourself. If you're not willing to go there,
but also understand what you're comparing yourself to. Because often, like, we're comparing ourselves to somebody and we have no idea what their upbringing was.
Yeah.
You know, so I'll use the example of, in the CrossFit world, there was a young girl, Mel O'Brien, that came into the CrossFit world, and she was 18 and she was breaking world records at 18.
Okay.
And now I have a 17-year-old who's going, wow, I want to be like that. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to, you know, I should be like her. I should be able to do what she does. And the truth is that, you know, that particular, and don't quote me on this, but for an example would be, is that particular person grew up with parents that were athletes, who spent her life around either the ice rink or the gymnasium or the gym, and has been, well, she was not necessarily a professional athlete from the age of 5. She's been in the environment where she's able to learn from professional athletes, and she was taught right behaviors from the age of 5. She may not have done it, but she was taught the right things. So when she went to do it, it just flowed, and it came naturally.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it was easy.
No.
But it came naturally.
Because the things were instilled in her early on.
From early on. Whereas my 17-year-old took out CrossFit at 15.
Yeah.
And
different.
Has never been exposed to all of those things. And now is comparing herself to another 17-year-old or 18-year-old, going, but why can't I do that? Like, there's something wrong with me. So be very careful what you compare and who you compare yourself to.
Get the get the full story.
Correct.
Right. Don't just sit. And I think, I mean, we speak about it a lot. And I think it's important that I speak about it again because that's what happens with social media. People look at social media,
they see 1/10 or 1/100th of the truth.
Inkling of the truth, just the smallest bit of the truth. And I mean, for me, even as long as I've been in social media, sometimes I still see things and I'm like, that's what you do. Well, that's nonsense. You showed me the back end and I'm like, come on, man, you cheating. But hey, that's your thing. Do it how you're gonna do it. I'm not sitting here to compare myself with you. I'm just looking for inspiration. And I think that's also a good thing, right? It's being able to find the right inspiration.
What can I learn from?
100%. Yeah.
It's very different to
I want to be
you.
Yeah, because I mean,
how can I get better?
Yeah.
Or how can I, what can I learn from you? How can I get better? How can I understand more?
Because everybody wants to be Cristiano Ronaldo, but you don't want to do the work. Any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
I think understand your mood level. It's so simple. It's not easy. Don't get me wrong. But the more you can identify your moods, the more you can change them.
Yeah.
If you have that awareness of how you actually feel, you have the ability to change it. Or if you understand how you feel, you can get super brave and ask somebody else for help.
Yes.
Because I think that's one of the biggest problems. People don't want to acknowledge how they feel, so they don't have enough courage and bravery to ask for help. And that's also one of the problems we see in society today. So identify your mood, acknowledge it, and once you do acknowledge it, it's okay. Be willing to ask for help. There are lots of people out there that can help you.
With that being said, if you're looking for help, Nicole at uncoveringgreatness.co.za or Nicole Mitchell on Facebook and Instagram. Ask for help. It's okay. It's, yeah.
It's not easy to ask for help. You have to.
Yeah, you have to say ask for help, and that's like one of my worst traits ever. And now I'm sitting there,
a lot of people.
How can I help? But yes, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. We appreciate it. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Leave us some comments. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know how you implementing the stuff you're learning on the podcast. With that being said, we'll see you guys next week.
See you next week. Thank you, Suleman.
Be blessed. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you to all our subscribers.
Bye.
Bye.